Now, if you look at all of the quarterbacks in the 2021 NFL draft that have still starters, they have all signed a bag. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. I can't remember all of them. No, Trevor Lawrence was 21, 21. I can't remember all of them. Joe Burrow for sure. But the two I want to focus on were the ones that came in the later of the first round, and that's Tua. I can't ever pronounce his last name. I always call him
Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah. See, I can pronounce DJ Uiagalelei, who went to Clemson, but I can't.
DJ's from California.
Yeah, he is. He went to St. John Bosco, I think.
Yeah,
for high school, and that's a top. But he didn't pan out. I'm wearing my Clemson stuff just because I was wearing it, but he didn't pan out. But I want to talk about Tua and Jordan Love because if you can see by the thumbnail, Patrick Mahomes is broke, Nate. He's broke. He's the best quarterback in the league, but he doesn't have any more money. So let's talk about some numbers. Tua, Jordan Love. Let's talk about what could potentially happen with Patrick Mahomes, how the Chiefs can compensate, because Patrick Mahomes' agent's probably angry that this is happening. And we'll talk about it. Let me just throw out some numbers for you. So we saw Tua and Jordan Love sign contracts this past week. Tua signed a 4-year, $212 million deal. He's going to get $167 million of it guaranteed. Think about that. That is crazy. $167 million of it. If he goes concussion again, if he gets paralyzed or whatever was going on with that one game, he's still gonna get $167 million of it. He's still getting $40 million a year whether he plays or not, which is crazy. If I were the Dolphins, I probably would not sign that. I mean, I don't know who did that. Whoever did that should probably be fired. But let me show you how a guaranteed contract is supposed to work. So the Packers with Jordan Love signed a 4-year, $220 million deal. He gets $100 million of it guaranteed. Now, that's how a guaranteed is supposed to work. You don't get almost all your money guaranteed in the contract unless you're signing like a 1 year or something. But he is now the highest paid quarterback in the entire league in NFL history, as he makes $55 million a year. And he had a record setting. Once he signed his name on that line, guess how much he made, Nate? He made $75 million in a signing bonus, which is the most anybody's ever made. So I give you these numbers. One's making $212 million a year. $212 million for 4 years, and one making $220 million for 4 years. They're very similar contracts. Which quarterback deserved them? Did they both deserve them? Why are these contracts so close, given that we've seen Tua in Miami on what he's been able to accomplish, and we've seen Love in Green Bay and what he's been able to accomplish? Nate, give me your thoughts on these numbers. What are you thinking? Too high? You paying him too much? What's going on?
Tua deserves his, and there needs to be some clauses in his. Jordan Love is a little bit too soon. He had one good year, and you got to build off of that good year and whatnot. But if we're going to talk about anything, I know we're talking about all these quarterbacks, and now you made a statement saying that Patrick Mahomes' agent should be fuming. No, he shouldn't. I'm going to tell you why. This corner is a 3-time Super Bowl champion, just won back-to-back Super Bowl MVPs. He's an iconic face of the league right now. Tom Brady has passed the torch to Patrick Mahomes. Remember, Patrick Mahomes signed a landmark deal for 10 years, $500 million. Now, what he's done is the fact that what he understands is that, you play the game to win championships. And you can't win a championship if all the money is allocated to one in particular position. You have to spread it out. I can say this and say this, because I understand the dynamic of the formula. Tom Brady has never been the highest paid quarterback in his position. Highest paid quarterback in the league. He's well deserved. We're talking about a 7-time Super Bowl champion. A 5-time Super Bowl MVP. 3 times Super Bowl, 3 times NFL MVP. this guy that has set the bar and the standard. He's never been the highest paid at his position since he played in the league. Because ultimately, what Bill Belichick was able to do was to get him to understand that if we are doing this to win championships, we got to make sure that all the other positions are taken care of. Meaning, I have to make sure you have a left tackle and offensive line that can protect you. Make sure that you can have, like, that 7 or 8 second pocket that he has. Keep you off the ground and upright. I have to be able to pay the skill position, the receivers, the tight ends, the running backs, to who you're going to throw the ball to, and who the offense, the guys are going to make plays for you. Then let's not forget about that. Offense sells tickets. The other thing, the thing that I play, defense, it wins you championships. So we got to make sure we got a solid defense. You got to spread the foundation of your cap, and all the money can't just be going to one particular player, because again, you're going to be lacking in positions. The reason why the Bucks were able to beat on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, because again, that was the first year of his deal. Most of the cap was to him. So you didn't have that left tackle that you needed to protect him. You didn't have the offensive line needed to protect him. That's why you got to take a page out of the Brady Belichick book and just say, okay, listen, I want you to be the highest paid. You deserve to be the highest paid. But yeah, let's look at the give or take. We play this game to compete and win championships. This is the most important aspect of it. In order for us to, is it more important for you to win championships or get all this money? Now, again, the key thing to this is when contracts have a lot of hidden language. You get bonuses, postseason bonus. You get a Pro Bowl bonus, incentives. You make the All Pro. You play 90% of the snaps. All these incentives, you can wind up making more money, which that's where over the course of Tom Brady's career, he made so much more money because again, he had so many incentives on the backside of his contract, which again, he may be getting paid, I think his last 2 years in Tampa, he was getting like $25 million. But the reality of it is that $25 million really, with the incentives, and he matched out all that answer, that $25 million went up to like about at least 40 plus million with all the touchdowns, the number of snaps, the Pro Bowls, all that stuff going to the playoffs. We got to factor those things in it, because again, it's more important if you're competing for a championship to win and play for championships. It's not important at times to be the highest paid when you know you're going to make that money and some.
I like that. I mean, it makes sense because Tom Brady, in 1 year of his career ever, he played over 20 seasons. He had one defense that was outside of the top 10 in his entire career. Do you want to know what number that defense was ranked? 11th. He had one time that his top defense was outside the top 10. It was ranked number 11. And it makes sense. I like to say this, Tampa was already a good, well-oiled machine over there. They had a good head coach. They had a good system. Everything was there. You had Jameis Winston throwing over 5,000 yards. If you can have Jameis Winston throwing 5,000 yards, you got something over there. Now, the way I looked at it was before Tom Brady went to the Super Bowl, the Buccaneers were a Super Bowl caliber team without their Super Bowl caliber quarterback. That's the way I put it. That's the way I've always seen it, because I've watched the Buccaneers 2 times at least every season, because they got to play the Saints every year, twice a year. And so when I kept seeing this Buccaneers defense, I kept seeing this offense, the potential. Jameis Winston wasn't going to be your Super Bowl caliber quarterback. I'm sorry. I wish he was when he was at the Saints, but he got injured, whatever. Tom Brady, if there is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, his name is Thomas Patrick Edward Brady. Am I wrong about that? He's your Super Bowl caliber quarterback. If there's anybody that's going to win a Super Bowl, it's going to be Tom Brady. When you bring him to a team that's already a well-oiled machine, and all they're missing is that one little screw to screw it all together to stop that little oil from leaking, that's what Tom Brady was when he went to Tampa Bay. And we saw what happened. So is it safe to say that Patrick Mahomes and his agent are setting up contracts similar to what Tom Brady and his agent were when Tom Brady was in New England, with the incentives and winning and everything?
Well, he's under contract for the next, what?
Till the 2030 season.
Exactly. So he's under contract now. What they can do is they can make some adjustments to give it some escalators. But I mean, again, you don't want to take away from the fact that if you have the pieces around you, and Andy Reid is in a space where he's continuing to build around Patrick Mahomes and add the pieces around him for them to be a team that competes. Don't mess that up. Don't mess it. Don't mess something. Don't break. Don't mess up. So try to fix something that's not broken. Because again, Patrick Mahomes. Again, a lot of these guys are getting great deals and whatnot, but Patrick Mahomes is the one that has the hardware. He's the guy that's playing in February.
I mean, you're right. I do want to. The reason I made that claim of his agent angry and fuming is because they did actually do something with it when all these quarterbacks were getting paid. Now, back last September, during the last season, the 2023 NFL season, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, they had restructured his contract. So for that season, all the way up to the 2026 season, Patrick Mahomes was getting $210 million of his contract guaranteed over the course of those 4 seasons. So you look at it and you're like, okay, well, what does that mean for after the 2026 season? What's the rest of the money going to be? Can I ask you that question? After 2026 and he gets all that $210 million guaranteed, what does that mean for the rest of his contract into the 2030 season?
Well, they can actually renegotiate his contract to the rest of the contract is guaranteed, and add new money to it. I mean, it's just basically on to them, and you got to see again, you know, you got to see ultimately where the team is headed. The players are still on the team. The Chris Joneses, the Travis Kelce's. Are you going to, be bringing players in to replace certain players and whatnot? You're adding the pieces around and getting younger each year. That's the thing.
And the Saints are so bad at that. We've probably had the oldest team in the league the past couple years. And I think last year our average age was like 27. It was so sad to see.
Young team. And the only thing y'all need really is a solid quarterback. Defense isn't. Again, you touched on something. You touched on something where it was just like again, Jameis Winston. The Tampa Bay Bucks were already a good team that had the pieces that just didn't have a quarterback. I can say another team, the Denver Broncos, when Peyton Manning signed there, that was already a good team. That already a good team. They just didn't have the quarterback position.
And they had a young defense. They wanted to bring someone like DeMarcus Ware for veteran leadership to run that young defense.
To get Von Miller to really get him to, touch his potential. Got another team. The Detroit Lions traded for Jared Goff. That team is ready. And also the LA Rams. They got Matthew Stafford. What did the Rams have? The Rams already had a good team. They had the pieces already. They just need the quarterback.
And Jared Goff wasn't it for them. But apparently Jared Goff's been in Detroit because what's been happening with the Rams since they won that last Super Bowl?
The Rams, they missed the Super Bowl the year after for the Super Bowl hangover. And they made it to the playoffs this past year. They competed really good. But Cooper Kupp was hurt. So.
And Matthew Stafford was stellar that second half of the season. He was stellar.
Amazing.
I mean, it doesn't get. I mean, we were seeing.
There was like a 4-game stretch where Matthew looked like he was a first-team All-Pro.
Oh yeah. You couldn't watch better football than Matthew Stafford when he was on the field. And I hate to say that because Patrick Mahomes was on there, but Patrick Mahomes don't really light up to it. Patrick Mahomes knows he's going to go home if he don't do something.
Again, having those moments, those moments, those are the moments right there where, where the ice comes through your veins, where it's like you live for those moments. And again, Patrick Mahomes, when it's time for him to put the cape on, he puts the cape on.
And I mean, I hate dynasties because I don't like seeing the same team win every year.
No, you got 32
teams.
No, you gotta love it. No, you gotta love it because again, from the competitive standpoint, the competitive sense, I want that dynasty because I want to be the team that knocks that dynasty off. It's a pride thing. It's about competing. I mean, a lot of the teams we talk about the Patriots and whatnot, and people hated the Patriots because they were winning so much. Okay, you can hate them all you want, but I want to be the team that beats them. You got to have that competitive mindset. And again, some people that don't have that, they're just like, oh man, they're winning. And but again, you can't be mad at the fact that they're winning because again, they played number one. They're a well coached team. They were disciplined. They were fundamentally sound. And they had this guy by the name of Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. under center, and he was the leader of that team, along with the Vince Wilforks of the world. You know, the Dante Hightowers, the McCourtys, the Devin McCourtys, guys that actually played the game and just really just again led. So you can't be mad at dynasties. If you're gonna be mad that you fall to the same team because it's not that this team is better than you; they just execute at a better rate than you.
I don't hate them. I respect them because
Exactly.
I know how hard it is, number wise, because I like numbers, to keep that same team atop for as many years as some of these teams are doing it. You have to make sure your numbers are almost perfect. You got a cap hit, and you want to make sure your team does not touch that cap hit at all. Because if it touches that cap hit and you go into the next season, well, it's more than likely going to be over that cap hit when the next season comes. Because just how the contracts work. A lot of them are always backloaded. Men raised by a single mom are weird. Thank you, Fair Use TV. But I respect it because Drew Brees, I hate to say it, he got paid a lot of money. I don't know if he was ever the highest paid. Maybe when he signed that extension, I can't remember when he signed it. But there was a time where he signed an extension. He might have been the highest paid then. But I've never seen a Travis Kelce, and I've never seen a Tyreek Hill. I've never seen a Randy Moss. I've never seen those guys on the Saints growing up because we never signed anybody like that. Well, I mean, we had Jimmy Graham, and then we didn't want to pay Jimmy Graham to keep him because Jimmy Graham was asking too much money to keep him. So I've never seen those guys other than I want to say Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham might be the best receiver Drew Brees ever had as a tight end. You know, I think Jimmy Graham led the league in receptions or something, a receiver stat one year. He was that good. He was that guy.
But you want to know who you also you sleep on?
Michael Thomas. I want to say Marcus Colston. He was a dog. I'm not going to lie. But the man was never a Marvin Harrison. He was never Randy Moss. He was consistent.
Offense needed. He was everything. The big catches, guy had over 1,000 yards every year, and he made.
I liked him.
He made those tough catches. That was Breeze's security blanket.
I mean, I agree with you. And when we won that Super Bowl, there was nothing better than seeing Reggie Bush as a third down back, or if you wanted to run him on first down, and then seeing Pierre Thomas as a receiving back. And if you wanted to check down to him, it was like poetry. It was like perfected literature on I mean, it was perfect. And the way, I don't know how they didn't implement it again. They just never had a dynasty like the Patriots or Chiefs. I wish they would have imitated it again. I wish they would have emulated what they did that season. But it never happened. It was always under executed, and I hate to see it, but they've had so many chances to win and win and win, and it was just always choking.